Welcome to this lecture series on organizational behavior. We are in the 7th chapter, which is on motivation. I am Dr. MP Ganesh from IIT Hyderabad. So this is going to be the outline of the lecture on this chapter. So we start with the definition of motivation. We'll try to understand how motivation works. We also look at a very specific aspect of motivation, which is need, and what are its characteristics. We will also try to understand the different types of motives, and finally we'll look at a few theories on motivation. The idea of motivation is very central to organizational behavior. If you see, the entire idea of understanding organizational behavior in workplace from a management's point of view is to make people work. So it's as simple as how to make people work better. All the aspects like satisfaction, commitment, happiness with the job, all those things from an organization's point of view, it may not be very relevant in terms of the bottom line. The bottom line being profit. So if I have to make profit, I'm talking from an organization's point of view. If I have to make profit, I want my employees to perform better. So if I want my employees to perform better, a very commonsensical way of looking at it is just pay them well. So incentivize them, give them bonus, connect their performance with monetary rewards, and people will perform. So if we all work for money, that is one way of understanding how to make people work better. So if everybody works for money, just pay them well and connect their performance with their pay. Obviously people will work. If somebody is not performing, send them out. You fire them. As simple as that. So why do you need a chapter to understand that? Or why do you need theories and models to understand motivation in workplace? It's all carrot and stick, isn't it? So how many of you agree to this statement? Money is a very powerful motivator. Using money, you can make people work. It is as simple as that. How many of you agree to this idea? How many of you want to challenge this idea that it's not as simple as that? Money is not the only motivator, or just by money you cannot motivate people to work. I'm not talking about altruism. I'm not talking about people who do things selflessly. I'm talking about work behavior. So how many of you think it's not as simple as that? Money is not the only motivator, or only with money you cannot motivate people. Just think for a minute. In fact, the second argument that money is not the only motivator and it is not as simple as money can make people work. It is true. In fact, both the arguments are true. Money is a very powerful motivator and in workplace. Money can drive people to work better. True. But we should also understand it's not just money which motivates people. It's about how we pay people or how we reward people with money. For example, you may, for a good performer, just giving them bonus along with, so just give them money. Okay, that is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is give them money and tell them good job. Okay, so it multiplies the effect of money. Or just give them a certificate saying that signed by the CEO of the company, you have done a very good job. As a token of our appreciation, we are paying you this amount as bonus. So more than just paying them in without any appreciation, if you combine these two, it can make a huge difference, isn't it? So that is what I meant. So it's not as simple as money can motivate people, and it is a complex dynamics which we have to understand. And that is what we are going to see in this chapter. Okay. So what is motivation from the work behavior point of view? Motivation is a very central theme in psychology, especially in organizational behavior. Its implications are very high because ultimately it's how to make people work, and motivation talks about it, how to make people work and work better. Okay, so what is motivation? Motivation, put in simple words, it's willingness of a person to exert high levels of effort to reach a goal. So there is a goal. If the person wants to reach the goal, he or she needs to put some effort. So if someone can put high levels of effort, then it reflects that person is motivated. Okay, so going that extra mile to achieve that goal is motivation. So this term motivation comes from motive. Motive means reason. Okay, in a very common understanding, motive means the reason or the cause. So motive is the force that pushes us towards a goal. So what pushes us towards that goal? Okay, I'll give an example. We all want, if you're a student, you prefer to have good marks, isn't it? So what drives you to get good mark, or why do you want to get good mark? For one person, he or she wants to get good marks in their examination because it will give them a good grade which will lead to better placement. Let's say the college has a policy that if you get good grade, you will be allowed to sit in the day one of the placements. Okay, so I want to reach beyond a certain cutoff grade point, only then I can sit in a first day of the placement, where chances that good companies will come and pick me up. Okay, so for me, good marks is about getting placed in a good company. So what motivates me to get good mark? Placement. Okay, for someone, good marks, I want to get good marks because I want to feel proud about my status in the class. I want to see it as a challenge. I want to get good marks which is higher than others. I want to be in the first top 5 of the class. Okay, so I want to be in the first quartile of the class. So which is a kind of pride which you get. You feel happy. So then it becomes the motive. For some people, I want to get good grade because my parents want me to get good grades. Otherwise my parents will feel unhappy. Okay, so for some people it is satisfying their parents become the reason. So for the same goal, different people are pushed by different reasons. So these reasons are nothing but motive. So if the motive is powerful enough, you are pushed to a very that push will be higher. Okay. According to psychology, every behavior has a reason. In other words, every behavior has a motive. So the motive is the purpose of that behavior. In other words, every behavior helps us to satisfy a certain need. For example, a need is lack of something. When you say need means lack of something. For example, you are thirsty. So thirst is a drive. Okay, feeling thirsty is a drive. What is thirst? Thirst is there is lack of water in your body. You are dehydrated. So the level of or the lack of water in your body is the need. You need water, and that drives you. You feel thirsty. Okay, and you try to do something so that you'll get water. So when you do certain things, like maybe you buy a bottle of water, or go to the fountain and drink some water. So all those things are behaviors which you exhibit, and that leads to incentives. Okay, you get the water, and the need for that particular need, lack of water, is satisfied. So this is a biological need. Okay, so similarly, any behavior, there is a need. For example, we cough, which is a behavior. Why do we cough? There is something which is irritating. There is a need to go to the normal. So that irritation is abnormal. Okay, you want to go back to the normal. So that particular behavior which you exhibit helps you to satisfy that need. You feel something in your throat when you cough, that goes off. Okay, so again it is a biological need. Psychological need, we all have need to have friendship. Okay, because you feel lonely. Without having friends or close relationships, we feel lonely. Okay, so what do we do for that? We try to be nice to people around us. We give, we do things which will make people happy, close friends happy. By doing it, we retain the friends or get new friends. Okay, similarly, why do you want to get into a job and earn? Probably there is a need for money, or there is a need for security in the life, or there can be a need for status, all those things. So any behavior is because of a certain need. Need is lack of something. When there is a lack of something, that leads to a certain drive, and that drive means the combination of behaviors which can lead to the incentive, which is the goal you wanted to achieve, or whatever will satisfy that particular need. Once you achieve it, that particular behavior ceases to exist. So that's the end of it. You may not, unless until that the same need rises again, you will not repeat this cycle. Okay. So like I said, everything is need based. Psychological needs, physiological needs, social needs. So there are many types of needs. Okay. Psychological need means you do something so that you feel comfortable inside. For example, we help people, we try to be nice to others. Why? Because psychologically you feel good about it. Okay. It can also be a social need. You tend to be nice to others, you tend to help others because you want others to praise you or others to accept you. Okay. So biological needs are very easy to understand, but social and psychological needs are complicated. They are interrelated. You cannot very clear cut say this is a psychological need and this is a social need. Social need means something which fulfills your society related deprivation. You need friendship, you need status, all those things are social needs. Psychological needs can be security, feeling a sense of security, feeling a sense of safety, all those things are psychological needs. Self-acceptance and things like that. Self-esteem, all those things are psychological needs. Okay. So like I said, most of our behavior are driven by needs. At any given point, there will be many needs which we will have. Okay. For example, at this point, I may feel thirsty. Similarly, I may feel lonely. I may feel insecure. What will happen maybe after 2-3 years? I may be expecting a job promotion. So there will be many needs which will exist at any given point. So among these needs, which one will be more powerful, or which will drive, or which will decide my behavior? Very simple answer is the need which is very dominating, which is very, very important to that person at that particular point in time, will drive the behavior. For example, for me, getting a promotion is a need. Okay, so I am expecting a promotion in my job or bonus in my job in next review, coming performance review. So that will drive me. So it will make me work hard. I'll put long hours. I will try to impress my boss, things like that. But let's say at that particular point in time, you fall ill. Okay, you fall severely ill. Okay, or there is some problem with your health. So at that point of time, what is more important for you is becoming okay. You should do something so that you will become normal or healthy. So that will drive your behavior. Okay, even though at that given point there are other needs like you want promotion and things like that, this priority of health overrides the other need like getting promotion. Okay, so the power of a need will will be is based on the importance of that particular need. Okay, importance for the survival of the organism. So the powerful need will determine how powerful the behavior is. For example, if that you like desperately want that promotion, you will put lot of effort to achieve that goal, getting promoted or getting bonus. But let's say some other need, you wanted to buy a very fancy watch, okay, that may not be very powerful need for you at that particular point in time compared to getting a promotion. So that will not push you that much vis-a-vis getting a promotion. So most of the needs, like I said, psychological needs, the importance is based on our perception of to what level it is important. Okay, for example, like I said, getting a job promotion. Okay, whether it is for one person it will be important, for another person it's not that important. So let's say there are 10 people in your office, getting a promotion is not equally important for everyone. Okay, even though everybody considers to be important, but it's not like everybody consider that as a very, very important thing. The level of importance given to each one of those individuals vary. That depends upon, so it's a perception. You perceive it to be important or you don't perceive it to be important. So that depends upon, that perception depends upon value, whether you actually value it or not. For example, simultaneously, like I said, there are many needs. Job, you're expecting a job promotion, and also your spouse is your spouse is undergoing some surgery and things like that. Let's say, or your parent is undergoing some health issue, your child's school, or your children's education. There are many needs which exist. So if you value a certain thing, for example, your parent is not well, vis-a-vis there is a job promotion which is coming. Okay, if you value a job promotion very high, you will spend more time there, and then you will appoint a attender to take care of your parents. Vis-a-vis, if your value towards your parents are very high, you will think, okay, promotion is important, but I don't actually, it's not that important as my parents or spouse health. Okay, so among various needs, based on which we consider it as important, we will pay more attention, or will pay more effort to it. We exert more effort to it, and the level of importance you place on a particular goal depends on the value system of that person. So if you consider something as a valuable thing, you will give more, you will pay more effort, or you will exert more effort to achieve that goal. Okay, so I hope you understood it, isn't it? So how much importance we give decides how powerful it will be to drive our behavior. How much importance we'll give to a particular need depends on what is our value system, how much do we value. Okay. The third point is needs never cease to exist. So it's not like, if you become rich, there is no point in life you get everything. There'll always be something which we lack, or at least we feel we lack. In fact, if you think biological needs, most of us biological needs are satisfied. We have, if you're a middle class person, we have enough food, enough job security, enough comfort in life. But it doesn't stop us from searching for more. Okay, psychologically there can be many needs. Physiological needs can be satisfied, but psychological needs never cease to satisfy. For example, you may think you will aspire to buy a certain product. You want to buy Apple iPhone. You get an Apple iPhone. Okay, it doesn't mean that you will feel satisfied completely always. You will want maybe the next model of iPhone. If there is a new model comes, you want to buy it. Okay, so like I said, needs will never stop, especially psychological needs. Needs are also recurrent in nature, which means, like I said, biological needs get satisfied, but it doesn't mean that they won't occur later. You eat, you get full, it doesn't mean that you will not get hungry forever. Okay, so even biological needs will reoccur. Okay, and all of us have needs. You cannot say I'm like a completely saturated person. I don't have any needs. We all have needs. Even the highly spiritual ones, from a philosophical point of view, they have a need. The need to find the Almighty, the God, or spiritual enlightenment. So it's not like they are saturated. The rich, the poor, the enlightened one, the beginner, everyone has needs. So in that sense, need are the ones which drive this entire society or this entire world. If need ceases to exist, there is no economy. In a very materialistic way. If everybody is happy and satisfied and buy nothing, the economy will not run. Okay. So in terms of motives means what drives us, that particular cause. Like I said, the need is the cause. If you are thirsty, it means lack of water is the cause. So those motives can be classified into three types. Primary motives, which are very biological in nature, unlearned and physiological. Right from your born, those needs are there. For example, baby, from day one, it knows it wants milk, or it needs mother's comfort. Okay, so those things you don't need to teach. Every child in the world will have that basic need. Okay. Second level of needs are general needs. General needs, again, there are discussions or there are arguments about whether they are biological or they are learnt. Okay. Curiosity means you want to know, need to know. Okay, you have this powerful urge to know something which is unknown. For example, there are, if you have seen some documentaries, monkeys, they go to a great extent to know or open a box, even risking their security. Even if it may be a trap, they have the curiosity to go and check what is there. Okay, so similarly, when you tell children don't do this, they will do it because they want to know what is there or why my parent is saying don't do it. Okay, so the curiosity to learn new things is a need. Paternal need, the need to become a parent or the need to nurture others. Even the ones who don't want to have children, they will have pets or they will have a plant at least. Okay, or even if they don't have biological children, they will nurture others. Okay, so paternal instinct means want to be a parent or want to be someone who nurtures others. Manipulative activity, there is a need to do things, not keep quiet, do something so that you do something productive. Okay, so these are considered to be general motives. Manipulative motives, some people don't want to sit, they just keep doing something. So these needs, curiosity, paternal, manipulative needs and all, some people say it is inborn. Okay, so one way in which we can understand it is inborn is it is there in all the cultures. Throughout the world, every society has these kinds of needs. So that is general motive. These are biological motives. Secondary motives are learned motives. You want to be part of a group, you want to achieve, you want a certain social status, you want to be secure. Secure, not just physical security, not just having a house, having friends, having relatives around you. So all those things are psychological motives, or you learn to have them because society tells you to have them. Okay, if society doesn't insist those kind of things, you will not feel them as needs. So again, in a broad sense, needs can be one, biological needs, which is like which exists from the beginning itself. You don't have to teach them to have that need. Certain needs are social needs or learned needs. You learn, okay, this is important. A child may not know, I want a fancy watch or a mobile smartphone. For a child, it may not be important. But when the child grows later, it understands, okay, I need this so that others will respect me, so that I will feel a certain level of respect towards myself. Okay, so in fact, after we grow a certain age, most of our behaviors are driven by secondary motives, because primary motives anyway, they get satisfied for most of us. Again, we should not take it for granted. When you are poor, or for certain people, in fact, the majority of the people in the world are poor. For them, even the basic needs are very, very important. But in a very middle class sense, or for people of our social group, psychological motives drive most of our behavior. Okay, so I'll stop here. In the next class, we'll talk about more in detail about types of motives and what are motives and how they influence behavior. Till then, take care. We'll meet in the next lecture.